Hello there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to dive into my 1 year later review of the Canon RF 600mm f4 lens. I've been using this lens exclusively for bird photography for the last year. So has it lived up to the hype? Is it worth the hefty price tag? And how's it held up after a year in the field? Stick around because I'll be breaking it down with all the pros and cons. So when I bought this lens about a year ago, I was blown away about how light it is. You can wield it around. It's rather large. You can see most of it's a lens hood out here though, so you're really looking at this section right here, plus the camera. The only time it starts getting a little heavy is when you have to hold it up for a long period of time waiting for a bird to pose. But other than that, it's really light and wieldable. So out of the box, the quality of this lens is unmistakably top level. So in the first part of last year, I had my Canon R5 attached to this lens. Now I have an R5 II, and with the autofocus capabilities of the R5 II coupled with this lens and the speed of the lens, it's absolutely amazing. Hands down, pretty much everything I dreamed of in a camera setup. So overall, how's this thing held up after a year of use in the field? So over the past year, I've dragged this lens through the forests, cattails, sagebrush, bushes, and all kinds of weather. And I've got to say, the durability of this is top notch. So I haven't had any problem with the weather sealing on this lens, and I don't plan to anytime soon because I don't let it get very wet. So how's the image quality on this thing? Well, I've found it to be outstanding. The sharpness and clarity is fantastic, and you can even crop in and still have incredible detail. And that, coupled with the creamy smooth bokeh, isolates the bird from an otherwise busy background. So with the image stabilization in the lens and the camera combined, I'm able to get handheld shots at down to 1/100th of a second with no problem at all. So with the R5 II's autofocus capabilities and the quickness of this lens, the combination is just amazing. Okay, so what are the cons of this lens? So another drawback is if you have to hold the camera up for any amount of time waiting for a bird to pose, it makes your arms burn quite a bit, gives you quite a workout. So you have to be mindful of bringing a tripod or a monopod. Okay, so another con is camera straps. You have to connect the camera strap right here to the tripod shoe because you can't connect it over here with the camera because it'll cause a weak point between the lens and the camera and cause a breakage right here. This tripod shoe is very strong, but when you have it on a camera strap, it's a little bulky, tends to try to bump into things if you're not cognitive of where the lens is. I typically carry it by this tripod shoe because it's really sturdy and I can lower the camera down and rest my arm and switch arms with it. So with a camera strap, you can let it hang and it will let your arms rest. For a carry-around lens, you have to be cognitive of where you're carrying it so you don't bump it and scrape it up and damage it. Also, this lens takes some consideration while transporting it to the location where you're going to take photos, as it takes up a lot of space in the vehicle. And once you get to your destination, you can't always just hop out of the car and go taking photos like, say, if you had a 100 to 500 millimeter or the 200 to 800, where you can, it's pretty versatile. You can just jump out of the car and get birding. Okay, so another drawback is the price. This thing's a whopping $13,000, and that's not really easy to afford. So how's the lens looking after a year out in the field? Well, it looks really good. I've got a couple little scuff marks on the lens hood. Other than that, there's no dirt in the switches or anything like that. I've kept it clean and there's no damage to it or wear and tear at all. So it looks really good. So the front element is really good. I've got this big lens hood. It's a nice deep lens hood. So if I'm going through the brush, this doesn't allow anything to get on the inside and scratch on the lens or anything like that. So we're good there. Really got a good coating on it because there's no scratches on the outside of the lens anywhere. It looks virtually kind of like it's brand new, aside from a few scuffs down here by the tripod mount, and that's kind of normal. But it's just like new. It's a great lens. I'm very impressed with the quality and the sturdiness of this thing. So after a year of using this lens, is it worth it? To me, absolutely. And if you're a professional wildlife photographer or sports photographer, I would definitely recommend it. So this lens absolutely delivers in image quality, speed, and reach. Now for me, I've used the RF 100 to 500 extensively, and that's a very good quality lens, very capable lens, but I opted to go for the 600 because it's always been my dream lens, and I'm very glad that I went with this option. Now let's take a look at a few photos that I've taken with this lens. So that's my 1-year take on the Canon RF 600mm f4. So what's your take? Would you splurge on the 600mm, or is this overkill for your needs? Please drop a comment below and let us know what lens you prefer. I hope this review helped answer some questions you might have. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.